Identity Provider Initiated SAML login flow starts by the user logging into the identity provider. The identity provider's responsibility is to send the SAML token, aka the assertion of the authenticated user, to the service provider once the user provides valid credentials. Once Auth0 is configured as the SAML service provider, it acts as an intermediary. We decode the received assertion from the identity provider and extract the user information, amongst other things required by the SAML protocol. After this point, Auth0 needs to know the application to which to send the authenticated user's information. The upstream identity provider can't have this detail to tell Auth0. From their end, Auth0 itself is the application they are sending the authentication results to. As a consequence, to configure the communication between Auth0 and the app, our customers need to set the Identity Provider Initiated SSO tab of their SAML connection to define the app and the protocol. Auth0 supports OpenID Connect, SAML, and WS-Fed protocols out of the box for communicating with an app. Having different protocols ensures flexibility covering many different kinds of applications and not only the ones which support SAML. It might be useful to mention that the query string field in that view is helpful for configuring the behavior when the OpenID Connect protocol is selected. For example, if the app is a single page application, the response type should be set to token and/or ID token. But if it's a regular web app, it should be set to code. One common question is how multiple apps can be configured with the same upstream identity provider using the Identity Provider Initiated flow. The answer is, if you have more than one app to log in using the Identity Provider Initiated flow, you have to create separate SAML connections in the Auth0 dashboard per app and need to set up corresponding representations in the upstream identity provider. Notice the nuance that for service provider initiated login flow when Auth0 is the service provider, Auth0 knows which app has started the login request and the protocol it expects, so the authentication result is returned to the right app without any additional configuration. Thus, if your apps only need a service provider initiated login, a single SAML connection is enough to support multiple applications at the same time. Usually, it's a better idea to set up the SAML connection and test the service provider initiated from the Auth0 dashboard using the try button first. Once service provider initiated flow is working as expected, you could continue setting up the identity provider initiated flow. Also, it might be a good idea to test the flow in a test tenant with a more straightforward setup, such as no rules, hooks, or multi-factor authentication being enabled.